Green, green!
We have a very special Tiger Sports Network edition for you, a coach's journey. We got Chris Brown, head football coach of the Fort Hays State Tigers, with us, and we're going to take a look at his life and how it has got him here to Fort Hays State. Coach, I want to thank you really quickly for taking some time out of your busy schedule and sitting down with me and talk about yourself.
It's no problem, Gary. I really appreciate you having me here. There's really not much. I've kind of lived in Kansas my whole life. There's 1 year where I lived in Guymon, Oklahoma, and that was it. But I was born and raised in Liberal, Kansas. Grew up there. Second grade, moved to Plains, Kansas, which is only 25 miles from Liberal, and then ended up moving to Guymon, Oklahoma for my third grade year, then back to Liberal. My fourth, fifth, sixth grade year. So always kind of stuck in that southwest corner of Kansas, and but loved it very much. I grew up there, and it was great growing up there. And then I got the chance to go on to college and play.
All right, well, let's talk about your career path. You're obviously a coach right now. You're the head football coach. Why coaching as your career path?
I just trying to look at things that would make me happy, and something that I'd really enjoy, to do the rest of my life. And my dad was a truck driver, and that didn't really seem too enticing to me to want to do something like that the rest of my life. And I wasn't even really thinking about college, out of high school until I got recruited by Pittsburg State University and Washburn University as well. And I was hoping Fort Hays did, but they didn't. And so I kind of took that path, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but just being more in tune with football and my coaching staff, and how much they made an impact on my life. I want to do those same things. When I was growing up, I wanted to make an impact on some kids' life and try to teach them to be great young men, great husbands, great fathers, and hopefully have a great job someday that they can, make an impact in this world as well.
So would you say that your playing days, both at Liberal and Pitt State, kind of led to where you are right now as a head coach?
I think so. Just the whole aspect of playing the game, and what I did, I really listened to my coaches and what they taught me to do, and kind of soaked everything in, and because I knew eventually I was going to be a coach someday, and I just wanted to learn as much as possible. I was always in the film room studying. I'm getting with our coaches as well to try to figure out what they're doing defensively or offensively, and just really trying to soak in the whole football thing so I could eventually be a great head coach and just kind of see how our coaches coached as well. But it was just always something I wanted to do. I never wanted to get away from the game of football because I love it so much.
Let's talk about your playing days. You were a great player at Liberal, and then you went on to play at the collegiate level at Pittsburg State, a very good program at the MIAA. When you look back at your playing days, what kind do you like to reflect on?
Just that I gave it my all. I didn't hold anything back. I worked, continuously in the weight room. It's not like when we were, in the summers here. Now every kid has to be here in the summer. Back in my days, there wasn't really a summer program. You just kind of went and lifted on your own and conditioned yourself. And, but camp was, 4 weeks long, and you had 2-a-days, 3-a-days. So it's kind of not like it is now. But, I just, just listened to our coaches, doing what they taught me to do. And, I just loved the game so much. I loved to go to practice. When we were in the weight room, I loved being in the weight room. I loved to go watch film. I really loved to study our opponent and know what our opponent was doing before I got on the football field. But it was just really the love of the game. I loved it so much. Everybody said I was a great player, but I just played football. I had fun and enjoyed myself, and played to the best of my potential and gave everything I got to my teammates, and that's what I did.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that great player. You were a gorilla at Pittsburg State. I've seen some highlights of you. You could really bring the hammer as far as that goes on the defensive side of things. National champion, Division II player of the year. What was playing at Pittsburg State like for you?
It was fun. It was enjoyable. Just the guys I played with, we had so much fun together. We really cared about each other. We loved each other. We trusted each other. And, we really did work, to make each other better in practice. We held each other accountable, and it carried over to the games. Our game situations, if a guy wasn't making a play, he got chewed pretty well. So, we kind of held each other accountable in that aspect. We wanted to do so well. We wanted to win championships. We wanted to win conference championships that, we just worked. And we knew if we didn't work that those things weren't going to happen for us. But it was all about the guys around me. They did their job, I did mine, and things worked out for me.
So you are a national champion. What's that like? Do you think about that much?
Well, I never really won. I went to the national championship game twice. Never got a chance to get that ring though. But you know, getting some of those honors, I mean, I don't really think about it. It's just honors, you know, and it wasn't really what I did. It's what my teammates did. I just did my job, and that's all I did. I didn't really think about being an All-American, being Player of the Year, and those type of things. All I thought about was just doing my job and helping make my team, you know, be successful.
You have experience playing in the postseason, playing at on the national stage. Can you take something from that and give it to your players, or give it to your two kids who are also playing football?
It's just, you know, you get opportunities, and you're only going to give them so many opportunities, and you know, some guys get to that level and some guys don't get to that level and playing those championship games or even in a playoff game. But it's just all about work and, you know, doing your part, you know, and that's what I talk to my two boys about all the time is, you know, they're very frustrated at times when things aren't going well, but I was like, as long as you play your best and do your best and give everything you have for your teammates, and you know, things will work out for you, you know, because they have aspirations of playing college ball as well. So it's just about work and commitment and dedication. What are you doing to make yourself better? Because if you make yourself better, you're going to make your team better. And you know, those things will come in time. You know, you'll get a chance to play in a playoff game. You'll get a chance to hopefully play in a national championship game. And you know, if those things don't come, you know, it's just part of life. And you got to find a way to still make yourself a champion.
Let's talk about your two kids. They're football players. They both play at Hays High. As a football guy, when you figured out you were going to have a boy and then another boy, did you immediately start thinking, I'm going to raise myself some football players, or did you just kind of let them choose it on their own?
I did, you know, but then it got to the point, you know, you got to let your kids do what they love. My oldest, Hunter, I mean, he lives and breathes football. You know, he loves it to death. He could do it year round if you let him. You know, he likes the other sports, but football is his main love. Now the youngest, I don't know, I thought he was always going to be a soccer player, you know, because when he was younger, you know, 4 or 5 years old, they didn't have football for those age groups, so he played soccer and he loved soccer, so I thought he was end up going to be a soccer player. Then he got a little taste of football. I loved it, enjoyed it, and now, I mean, honestly, basketball is probably his favorite sport, but you know, he plays football because, you know, he knows his dad likes it, and I think he does enjoy it, and you know, they're just very, very competitive, and but you know, I was going to let them do what they wanted to do, and you know, I was hoping they would choose football, and they both did, and you know, they're both very talented at it, and there's some things they can still work on as kids, but I'm a coach and I'm always going to say that. But, you know, I still think they're very talented and they do some very good things, and, you know, I'm proud of the way they've, you know, progressed, you know, making the change from, you know, living in Liberal to going to Topeka, Washburn, and now another move to Hays, and, you know, they're resilient and they've made it through it, and, you know, I think it's made them stronger and tougher because of those things.
Obviously, your job takes them away from you. Is that maybe the hardest part of being a coach? You don't get to see your boys play all the time? It
is, but, you know, being a head coach is great because you can set your own schedules,
yeah.
You know, because, you know, right now Hayden, you know, freshmen play on Mondays, so we'll kind of have our team meetings on Mondays. We kind of adjust our schedule so we're not practicing on Monday where it's just meetings, and, you know, I got coaches that can take my meetings for me as well, so I'll be able to go and make his games. I'll miss 2 of the varsity games this year just because of travel. You know, I missed the Garden City game because we were at Northeastern Oklahoma, which is way down in Tahlequah, yeah. And it's, you know, I would have got there at 4 in the morning. Don't think that's a great job for a coach to get home at 4 in the morning and have to coach the next day. And then, you know, I missed the Dodge City game because we were playing in Pittsburgh. You know, that's another 6-hour drive, so I was going to get there at 2 or 3 in the morning. So you got to pick and choose your battles, but you try to make it as many games as you possibly can, and that's my goal. These next 3 games that they have here in the districts, I'll make every one of them just because of where we're playing, and you know, it's important to me. But you got to make time for your kids. You got to make time for your family. You got to make time for your wife, and you know, those are the things you got to do. Even though you're a football coach and you're pretty busy, you know, your family is still, you know, number one to you.
Your family is really involved around the Hays community. Your sons play for Hays High. Your wife is. You're starting to see yourself in some commercials now around town. Your face up on the TVs. What's the Hays community like to you?
I love the Hays community. I mean, they're so supportive. I mean, I love when I go to Dillon's or go to Serves or go to Walmart, and people stop me and talk to me, and you know, that's just part of being a head coach. You know, you still have to do that social side of it. It doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing. You know, those people want to know, and you know, it's my job to give back to the community as well, and stay involved and make sure that people, you know, still love Tiger football. They get excited about Tiger football, but that's my job as a coach, but that's who I am as well. You know, I love to be out there in the community and talking to people and being around people because, you know, they're important to me and they're important to our program as well. You know, the more support we get from them, the better off our program is going to be.
Do they approach you and try to talk football? A little small talk on football?
Yeah, they do. You know, it's fun. I mean, that's being a football coach. That's about the only thing you get to talk about is football. And but you know, we'll dig deeper, ask them about their families and how things are going, and ask more about how they are instead of just football. You know, because it's important to me how they're doing as well, and you know how they view our program as well, how they view me, and you know, but those things are important. But you know, I'm just out there trying to make everyone happy and making my family happy and making this community great and giving back to this community because I think that's very important.
When you look at your accolades on your file, not only as a coach but you know also a player, you see you've been inducted into the Hall of Fame at Pittsburgh State and most recently VMIAA. So what's that like for you? It's
pretty neat. I mean, really to me it just means I'm getting older, you know, because it seems like when you get in the Hall of Fame, those guys are older and getting older. But you know, it's a great honor. You know, I love being put in those positions where those are tremendous athletes. You know, I don't see me as a tremendous athlete. I just did what I was supposed to do and enjoyed the game and played for my teammates. I mean, all those awards to me are because of my teammates and what we accomplished as a team. But, you know, they're great honors. It's awesome to get into those things, and it's awesome for my family to be involved in those as well, just to kind of see those things. But it really just comes back to family support and your teammates support and you know, your coaches as well, and just doing what you know, just playing football to the best of your ability, and those things happen sometimes.
You've had 3 different spots as a head coach, starting at the high school level with Liberal, first collegiate job at Washburn, and now here at Fort Hays State. What have you taken from each of those prior jobs that you can use here, or that you have used here at Fort Hays State?
It was very fun. I mean, my very first coaching job was at Northeastern Arma, which is in Kansas, just 6 miles north of Pittsburgh. I was student teaching and I was a head coach. Had no clue what I was doing. I was 0-8 my first year as a head coach there. Called Gary Cornelson who was my high school head coach at Liberal, and said I need a job. And you know, the only thing they had open was a physical science freshman teaching job open. So I took like 12 hours of science classes in the summer just to do this job. So I went back home and I needed to learn. You know, I learned quite a bit, and just being around him and listening to him, you know, I learned a lot about football and you know, how to treat the kids, how to hold them accountable, how to get the kids to really have your back and understand that you do care about them, and just the whole X's and O's of the game as well. And you know, Chuck Burrows is a big part of that as well. You know, just going to Pitt and playing for him and seeing how he treated players and how he coached players and how he got his teams to play very, very hard. You know, is a big reason of why we're having the success here at Fort Hays State. And then going to Washburn with Craig Schurig and being his defensive coordinator, you know, he gave me a chance. You know, I had a chance to be the head high school football coach at Liberal. The Washburn job opened up. Craig got the head job, asked me to be his coordinator, and I took it. You know, and that was a hard decision. You know, and it was going to be a pay cut. You know, going from high school to the collegiate level at that time, but it was something I wanted to do and get involved in, and you know, it worked out for us. But you know, he's a little different. You know, he's very, very smart. He has his petroleum engineer degree. I mean, he could be making tons of money doing that, you know, but he wanted to be a football coach just because he loved it so much. But, you know, his thoughts and the way he processes things is tremendous. I mean, he's a very, very smart guy and sees things very, very well, and very knowledgeable of the game. But, you know, I've kind of taken pieces of each one of those guys, a little bit of how I played the game too, and tried to instill that, you know, in these kids here at Fort Hays State, and my coaching philosophy here at Fort Hays State. And, you know, I'm looking at it as a blue-collar team. You know, we're going to outwork everybody, you know, and that's our one job. We're going to have great character. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to be held accountable. You know, we're going to be student athletes, just not an athlete. And, you know, I'm trying to teach these guys to be great young men when they grow up. And I think that's the most important part that I learned from all those guys is, you know, really we're trying to grow these young men up, mature them, and teach them what life's really about and how life should really be. And that's, you know, someday be a great husband, a great father, and a guy that can take care of his family. And that's my main goal as a coach. I mean, yeah, I want to get wins and all those things, but making sure that these young men understand, you know, their future is more important than anything else. And to have a great future, you got to have an education. But I want you to be able to treat your wife and your kids and take care of them as well. But you got to treat them with respect and love and be there for them. You got quite a few wins as a part of that Washburn staff. You know, jumping with your first collegiate job, being at Washburn, how thankful
were you for that first start at such a good program like Washburn?
It was awesome. Just the whole thing, just being in high school and being successful as a player, and your team's been very, very successful. Going to Pitt, to a program that was very successful as well, and then going back to Liberal and having some success, and now going to Washburn, it's just instilling that winning attitude of what it takes to win, and the dedication and commitment that you have to be able to win. And I think that's what we instilled in our players at Washburn as well when I first got there, because Washburn was not a very good program before we got there. I think they were 3-8 or 2-9 the year before we got there, and we kind of changed that program around as well. But a lot of it's due to Coach Schurig. I mean, he's such a tremendous coach, and making sure you recruit the right athletes. But it's just getting the right kids, kids that know how to win, kids that have great character, kids that want to work, and you find kids that want to win. And when you find those kids, good things are going to happen for you.
What is it about the Washburn program that is able to mold coaches? Because the roots at Washburn run deep throughout the MIAA, whether they are coordinators or head coaches. Somewhere they either played at Washburn or they started coaching at Washburn and then have gone elsewhere. So what is it about that program that's able to mold coaches?
I think it's just, the Coach Schurig himself, and a lot of those stem from Pittsburgh State, a lot of them, because like the head coach at Northeastern State right now was a grad assistant at Pitt and became a full-time coach at Washburn. I played at Pitt, and then I went to Washburn as well. Craig Schurig, the head coach at Washburn, was a GA and then a full-time coach at Pittsburgh State. So a lot of it kind of came from Pitt and just learning that winning attitude. But I think it just goes back to what type of kids are you getting as well, and and I think that's a big part of it. If you got a lot of kids that don't know how to win, don't have very good character, are very undisciplined, good things aren't going to happen for you. And if a kid doesn't have that, we were able to teach them and mold them in the way that we wanted them molded. But the only way to do that is really how you treat them. You just can't beat them every single day, but you got to teach them how to do these things that you want done. Some kids take longer than others, but I think that's why they were so successful.
Why leave Washburn? Very successful, 62-41. While you were there, 2 bowl wins, 2 playoff appearances, and you come to Fort Hays State with, we can be honest, before you, the football program there wasn't much to it.
It just kind of came to a point in my life. I mean, I was 9 years as a coordinator there. Was I ready to take the step to be a head coach? And I sat down with Coach Schurig, and we had some good long talks about, am I ready? Do you feel like I'm prepared and ready to take this next step? I didn't know if I'd get this job here or not. I mean, I applied for it, and I think Brad Ray is a big reason of that. He was here for a while. Then I met Brad in Topeka, who actually coached my youngest in football, and he made a phone call to Curtis Hammocky and about me applying for the job, and Curtis looked at it and gave me a call. But I think it was just time. I felt like it was my time to be a head coach. It was something I'd always wanted to do, have my own program, be in control of my own program, and it came open. I applied, and I was hoping I'd get an interview, and now I'm sitting here today in my 6th year as a head coach.
Did you really push for it? I mean, when you saw the opening of Fort Hays State, did you think to yourself, I want to be in Hays, I want to coach the Tigers?
I did, because I'm a Western Kansas guy. I'm originally from here, and it was a challenge. I love challenges. If somebody tells you can't do it, I love those things. It's just that's just who I am. I was always told I was too small to do this or too small to do that, but I had something to prove, and there's the same thing here. All right, Fort Hays State does not have a very good football program right now. It's a challenge. It's a hard place to recruit to, but I wanted it. And so I made many phone calls to Curtis and to Dr. Hammond, and just trying to get my name out there and hopefully get a chance to get a shot to interview for this job. And Brad helped me out again. Brad Ray helped me out again with those, making phone calls to Curtis, and even Chuck Broyles, who was the head football coach at Pitt at that time, made a phone call to Curtis Hammocky as well, and it worked out for me and got my interview, and now I'm sitting here.
You've accepted the challenge and have done very great with it. Your first year from 4 wins to last season playing in the Mineral Water Bowl. I know you're a very modest guy, but when you look at what you have done in your short time here, what do you think? I mean,
it's pretty amazing. I still think we're a little ways from where I want to be. We still got a lot of work to do. I'm not going to be happy until we win a conference championship or a national championship. Even then, I still won't be satisfied. I think it's just that thing of never being satisfied, never being happy. I mean, I'm very happy. I enjoy being in Hays, but just you always got to keep pushing forward to see how far you can go and find your limits. And And that's what I tell our kids. But it really goes back to, you know, my coaching staff is great. I've got a tremendous coaching staff that has the same beliefs that I do. They work just as hard as I do, probably even harder. They want to be successful. They've been successful in their college careers and coaching as well. And it's just surround yourself with a group of guys that have the same philosophy and beliefs that you do, and want to work and want to compete, and aren't satisfied with, you know, 5 and 6 seasons, 7 and 4 seasons, that want to win a conference championship, that want to win a national championship, and we've done that. And then go find those same type of kids, you know, and it really goes on the kids. They do all the work. They're in the weight room. They're the ones playing on the football field. They're the ones that practice. They're the ones in the classroom. Our job is just to put them in good situations and teach them and coach them, and, you know, hold them accountable and keep them disciplined and make sure they're doing things right to win ball games. But really the credit goes to those young men, because they put in all the hard work and effort, and it's them believing in themselves and having faith in our program and what we're doing.
Obviously, winning a conference championship is extremely tough when you have a team like Northwest Missouri that is in the same conference. How do you pitch that then to your recruits about the chance to win a conference title?
Just kind of what we've done so far. You know, the year before I got here, they were 3-8. My first year, we went 4-7. Then every year we've had one more win since then, and it's, you know, just telling them, you know, you're going to be part of something special. I mean, pretty soon, one of these days, we're going to have a conference championship, you know, in our hands. And if you win a conference championship in this conference, you have a great chance to probably play for a national championship. And it's, you know, Northwest is established, they've done it, and, you know, I don't know if those conference championships are especially more since they've done it so many times. But this is a place that's special. Our kids are special, our coaches are special, the community's special. And that's kind of what we sell to those players, you know, that we're here for you and you're going to be part of something great that's going to happen here in the future.
Your coaching philosophy is a little different from than other teams. I like it. You go after guys that are going to be there for 4 years. You really hit hard on the high school level. Why is that?
I just think the development of those kids is the most important. You know, we will bring in a few junior college transfers, but, you know, it really takes, you know, a year to year and a half for those young men to understand our systems and understand exactly what we're trying to do offensively or defensively. And, you know, you'll see a junior college kid come in, and it's not really till, you know, 3/4 of the way, you know, that first year that he really grasps, you know, what we're doing offensively or defensively, and turns into a pretty good player. Where, you know, you get these kids for 4 or 5 years, we've trained them in the weight room the way we want them trained. They're understanding our offense and our defense and our special teams, what we're doing, and it just becomes second nature to them. And, you know, now they're out there just playing football and playing fast instead of thinking all the time, and that's why I go for the 4 or 5 years. Plus, it's the commitments. You know, they're more committed to the program. They're bought in more to the program. They have a little bit more, you know, involvement in the program, and they become more of a family when you got them for 4 or 5 years instead of just 2. And you know, this is their home now. This is their family, and these are the things they're going to take care of while they're here.
Earlier in this interview, you said you came to Hays because Western Kansas had a special spot in your heart. There's been several players that have gone through your program that have been from Western Kansas. Do you hold a special place in your heart for players from this area?
I do.
And down in your area too, where you grew up and played?
Yeah, I do. You know, because, you know, when I first got here, there wasn't very many on the roster. You know, there was hardly any kids, you know, from Western Kansas. And, you know, Kansas City area, there's a lot of kids, a lot of talented kids. And, yeah, we'll recruit the Kansas City area too. Western Kansas, there's not as many, you know, just because there's not the number of kids, you know, to recruit from. And, you know, the ones that are better out here in this area, we have to go after them, and we got to make sure that they stay home. It's easier for their families to come see them as well to play these games. But, you know, it is dear to my heart. It is true that these kids haven't been given opportunities, and they need opportunities. And, you know, they're very appreciative. I know they're going to be hardworking because a lot of them are farm kids, you know, or oil field, you know, coming off the oil field with their dads or moms where, you know, work really, really hard. And, you know, I just know these kids out here need a chance, need an opportunity to make their lives better. But, I mean, there's some out here. You know, I was given an opportunity as a Western Kansas kid to go play, and I want to give that same opportunity to these young men.
What do you say to people that say there's no talent out here in Western Kansas?
You just got to find it. You know, it might not, you know, he might not be the most talented kid. You know, he might not be as good as that kid, you know, from the Kansas City area. But, you know, this young man is gonna make things happen. I mean, we know he's gonna work hard. We know he's gonna be disciplined. We know he's gonna be held accountable and do things that he's supposed to do. to make this football team better. And I think that's what you get from these Western Kansas kids. They're just hardworking, blue-collared, love the family, love who they're for, and they got your back, and they're going to do everything they can to compete and win ball games.
So getting guys to stick with the program for 4 years, is that the start in building a program that will be consistent getting into the postseason?
It is. You got to retain these guys. I mean, if you go sign 30 guys every year, but you only retain, 8 of them, I mean, your program's not going to grow and mature and get better. And that's something that we really stress with our kids. As when those freshmen come in here, that first day, I'll talk to them about, it's retention. If we can't keep you here and keep you part of this program and keep you eligible, where's this program going to go? It's going to fall apart. So you need to make sure that you stick it out. Yeah, you're going to get homesick. Yeah, there's going to be some things happen. Yeah, you're probably not going to start your first year, but you're not entitled to anything. We work for everything that we're going to earn, and if you're not working, you're not going to earn anything. If you're not working in the weight room or on the practice field, you're not going to earn playing time. And those are the things we really talk to our kids. I mean, nothing's, you're not entitled to anything. You got to work for everything that you want.
It's been great for me being here covering you for 5 of the 6 years that you have been here. What have you enjoyed about Fort Hays State the most?
Just the family atmosphere of it. I mean, the closeness of our program, the closeness of the community and their involvement in Fort Hays State University. Going through 2 presidents, Dr. Hammond was awesome, and still very, very supportive. And you got Dr. Martin, who's very, very supportive as well. I mean, just the support from the administration, the faculty, and the professors as well. I mean, that's very, very special to me. And just this community itself, I mean, their involvement and wanting to see our kids and getting our kids involved in different activities as well, working at carnivals for Roosevelt, or, helping the Salvation Army, or, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, anything that we can get involved in. That's what I love about our community. They want our guys involved as well. And when you get those things happening, a lot of success comes with it. But I think that's, what's so special to me is this place is so close, and it's such a family, not just from the college, but the whole town itself. It's one community that's here for each other. They got each other's back, and they want to be here for one another.
This last question for you is in here because it's been asked to me many times here this year. What would take you away from Fort Hays State? Are you here? Would you leave?
It would take a lot. I got 2 boys that are in high school right now. One's going to be a senior next year. The other one's going to be a sophomore. And those are the things I look at first. And, my family. I mean, what's going to benefit my family the most? Is it staying here? Is it taking them away and moving? But they're doing some great things right now. They're great academically. They're doing very, very well in sports. They're happy. They're smiling. They're having a good time. And I don't want to take them away from that. It has to be a great situation to get me away from here, But right now, this is my home, and this is where I want to be at. And I want to take this. And it's a challenge because some of those other places are established already and done some things. But I've kind of started this whole thing. I want to see how far we can take it. I mean, how can we get this to a national championship level program? Can we do it here? Can we not? So it's kind of, it'll take quite a bit to get me out here. But right now, this is my home. This is where I want to be. I'm a Tiger, and I want to take this program to the next level.
All right, that's a good answer. I enjoy that answer. That's Chris Brown, head football coach of the Fort Hays State Tigers, and now you know his journey here to Fort Hays. Thank you for watching, Coach. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.